Hi, welcome to another edition of the AttractWell Office Hours. I'm founder Greg Kilwine here, and I'm joined today by our awesome team members, Jessica and Colin.
How you doing, everyone?
Today we've got a nice presentation about some hidden features in AttractWell. But before we get into that, if you could go over to chat, click on chat, and let us know where you're coming in from. We'd love to know what part of the world that you're joining us from. So we're kind of got all over the place. So that was fun to see where people are. We've got a good lineup of things to talk about today. Coach Ashley is gone, so I'm filling in for her, and I've got some slides, and we can get started with this. Let me share my screen to start this off with. There we go. Okay. So today's topic is called Hidden Gems, and really where this idea actually came from the Facebook group. Somebody was like, "Hey, there should be like a whole presentation on like hidden feature or things that we don't really know about that are lesser used." So here we are. Thanks to, I don't remember who posted that. It's been a while, but appreciate that. And that kind of led to this topic today. So our agenda today is pretty simple. I'm going to go through relatively long list of what we've been calling hidden gems, and then follow it up with any live help and Q&A that might come in. If you do have questions along the way, and it can be about what I'm talking about, or it can be about anything in general, click the Q&A button up on your Zoom toolbar, and then yeah, let us know. Put your question in there, and we'll follow up as soon as possible. Oh yeah, I see Dane. Yes, thank you. That reminds me, that was you that suggested that. So thank you for that. So we're here today with that topic. A few things before we hop into it. Go ahead and if you're watching this as a replay, go ahead and get on our list to be notified at AttractWell.com/office hours. That signs you up for the emails telling you what the topics are going to be for each week, as well as any replay emails that we send out, including the link to the video. Oftentimes, it's not possible to meet every one of these live, so we have those all conveniently on our YouTube channel, and we send you out a link so you don't even have to sift through YouTube to find it if there's a topic. If you want to work together live on one of these calls, and I don't think anybody signed up today, if you want to work together live, go to AttractWell.com/work review, and you'll be able to get on one of these calls, usually with Coach Ashley. She or whoever is on will work through whatever questions it is that you have, and we'll get you on your way. Related to this, I don't have a slide for it. We also have live help calls that are kind of like this one. They're just, a small group call and not published anywhere. If you go to AttractWell.com/livehelp, LIVEHELP, there is we have calls multiple times a week, I believe, where you can get help hands-on, in small group sessions on whatever your project might be. If you want to hire our team, we have a full lineup of people who can help you with that. Go to AttractWell.com/concierge to learn more. Awesome. Okay, let me check the chat to make sure I'm not. Okay, yeah, we've got British Columbia, and yeah, awesome. So thanks for telling us where you're coming from, California. Cool. Well, we'll start with this here because this is kind of in line with the topic today. Can you let me know in chat, like, what is your favorite AttractWell feature? Got somebody from Tennessee here. What's your favorite AttractWell feature and why? And what do you use it for? How does it benefit you? Like, does it save you time, headache, that kind of thing? We'd love to know that, because I'm sure I'm going to cover a lot of features in this presentation. But if there's your favorite one, I'd love to know what it is, and maybe share it with the other people who are on here so that we know we can share that around. Okay, so first thing I'm going to talk about is a way to get around the system a little bit faster. And that's this top search bar, universal search box. There's you could call it a number of different things. But what this is, I'll go over here. It's this little box at the top. It's pretty, it can blend in a little bit. So this is something I wanted to talk about. And what it is you click in there and it literally searches everything on your system. You can have, it searches features, like if you search for campaigns, it'll show up. If you search for the name of like a page or a campaign or a vault or anything, it'll show up here. So if you just click in there, type something that you want to search for, and you'll end up with all the matches. So you can see that there's some features that match that keyword. If it's not a direct match, there's some other hidden keyword behind there that kind of links it up there, but it shows you the features and then anything that you have created in your account that is that matches that keyword, and then it organizes it by category. Like here's the automations that match, here's the blog post, save reply, event, campaign, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, so that's the essence of it. It's a great way to get around. If you want to jump right to whatever it is, all you have to do is click on it. It just takes you there. If you would like, so like for example, if I click on workshop lead and it'll take me right to that automation, which is a nice shortcut. Now, if I come back in here, let me type work again. And if I want to, let's say I'm working on something, I'm working on a page and I don't want to, I'm like, oh, I need to pull up this campaign because I want to make a campaign to go with this page. I can just type in that name and then click the new tab button, and that will open it in a new tab, as you can see here, which then allows you to retain exactly where you were when you left off without having to abandon what you were doing. Great shortcut there. There's a couple of other little hidden features in this that I wanted to talk about. And number one, I mean, the recent is not exactly super hidden, but anything that you type in here, see, like I click on automation, that shows up here in a recent match. You can clear out that list if you want to. And then there's these pinned items, which they don't appear by default, but let's say let me unpin all these so you can see this is kind of what it looks like when you first start out. If I like clear the recent matches, so you just have this. Now, if I were to come in here, I'm going to search for work again, and then you can click this little pin icon. And what that does, if I clear this out, you'll see that the pinned items are here. So this allows you to essentially create a custom menu in the system. If you don't want to navigate through all these things, let's say you use 5 of them most often, you could just pin those items right here just by searching for them. In this case, this is an item that you created, but you can also pin, let's say you frequently edit campaigns and you don't want to open the contacts menu all the time. You can pin that, and then you end up with, every time you click in there, the feature contacts campaigns is there. So all you have to do is click in here and then click on your pinned item, and then it just takes you right there. So great shortcut when you're wanting to get around fast and essentially create your own little custom menu. It's a nice little time saver. So you can search everything and save your favorites is the gist of this. You can also, so our next category here is talking about organizing your contacts. There's a couple of new features here that I want to touch on, as well as some ways to manage contact tags that are relatively new that not a lot of people have been using, but I think that are good for streamlining, saving time and such. So this new website field is relatively new, and I think this was talked about in the Facebook group a little bit. But so what that is, if I go under contacts, it's essentially a new field that's in the contact manager. I click on edit and I scroll down a little bit. There's a website URL field. I type in attractwell.com, for example, or whatever, it can be any URL related to that person. Maybe it's their business website, or maybe it's some Facebook page, or it could be anything that you want to, but it adds that in their profile here. So you can click on this and it'll open up that whatever URL that it is there. So I'm just gonna go clear that out of this contact, but that website field is relatively new. I just wanted to bring that to your attention there. And there's also a add and change contact notes field. I see we've got some first timers in here. Welcome, Troy. Glad that you made it here today. Okay, going back over here, adding and changing contact notes. So this, I'll show you just kind of a quick overview of the contact manager. You click on contacts, you can see your list. And then when you click on their name, it takes you to the page that shows all of the details about them, any notes that you might have, background information, any activity that you can, this guy doesn't, I think it's a demo account, any to-do items that you have, anything that you've done for them, as well as, some contact progress, campaigns, vaults, files, and so on, that might be there. So it's basically like a snapshot of everything that they can do. And you can do some cool things like emailing them, texting their number to your phone if you want to like pick up the conversation over there, run an automation, and so on. What I wanted to focus on here is the note-taking ability under past actions. We often get questions like, okay, I want to take some notes about the contact, private notes for myself. And we've had that feature for a while. It's just up until recently, you haven't been able to edit the notes. So I'll show you how this works. Under past actions, this shows everything. This contact, I wonder if there's a different contact that has a little more stuff in it. Here we go. Okay. So this person, this contact has many different items that are past actions, not just the one, and you can page through them. And you can see it's a mixture of emails, class completions, calls, meetings, etc., that have happened over time. So I'm going to go ahead and add a note. I'm just going to say, okay, I had a call, and you could do meeting or email or note or any of that. It doesn't really matter on that. Something that you would add here. So if I would add a note that says had a call, talked about the following next steps. I'll pretend I'm typing something in here. So we'll go ahead and add that. And again, adding that feature or adding that has been there for quite some time. But what's new here is when you click on it again later, you can now edit it. Say, oh, I forgot my fourth and fifth item. I can put that in there, and now that will add it into your note. And if you want to, you can even completely delete it. And that's not as frequent, but those are relatively new ways to be able to manage the content that you have in there for your notes that maybe it's post call notes or some note that you want to have kind of in the history about what you did. Maybe I tried to reach out to them and they didn't answer by phone or whatever. So that can be useful too. Another way to organize your contacts is with contact tags. Now, what tags are, they're essentially like lists, or some different platforms call them different things. We call them tags, but it could be lists or maybe folders, or there's a number of different terms that could be used. But what they do is each one of these, if I click on them, it shows me, okay, these contacts match that tag. So it's essentially like a list that you can have of people, and then it can be those lists that anyone who's tagged with that specific tag can then be used. You can send for a variety of purposes, like you can send them emails or texts, or you can invite them to join a vault, or you can start a campaign. There's a variety of different things you can do. So I wanted to talk about managing the tags. The most straightforward way on an individual contact is either, on this detail page, you can click edit. On the list view, you click the pencil. It takes you to this page where you can then pick from any of the existing tags that you might have, or you can add a new tag just by typing it and then either hitting enter or clicking it, and it'll create a new tag kind of on the fly, and you hit save. And likewise, once you delete a tag from the last contact that has it, the tag will go away from your list as well. So that's the most straightforward way, but there is a more streamlined way. Sometimes eventually you'll end up with hundreds or thousands of people that are tagged with a specific tag, and maybe the name of it, while it's still essentially is the same list, you want to change the name of it, or you want to, there's a typo, or maybe you just want to get rid of that tag entirely because it's no longer relevant. We'll go under contacts and then settings, and then click on contact tags. And you can add a new tag to the list. You can click one to rename it. Let's make this one 6. It'll rename it. You can see the contacts that match the tag, and you can delete it. So if you delete a tag, what that does, it deletes the tag from the available tags list, and then it will then remove the tag from all the contacts that had that tag. So it's kind of a shortcut. Otherwise, you have to go through and edit each one or do a bulk remove, and that's a little bit more cumbersome than just going under contact and settings and then tags. So that's kind of a fun one to save a little bit of time when you're working on that. Now, related to this is still in the contact manager, but this more falls into the category of managing yourself, staying on top of your own to-dos. So if you have to-dos for yourself that don't necessarily fall with a specific contact, you can add those. We recommend doing this by creating a contact for yourself. So you go into the contact manager, click add a contact for yourself. You don't have to email yourself if you don't want to, but the point of it is that you'd be able to then add to-do items for yourself that may not necessarily be contact specific. Okay, let's say you're in some sort of program that says I need to read 20 minutes of this book every morning, something like that. You could add that in there as a reminder for you to do that. And so, to-dos, I'm going to talk about that here now too. So the to-dos, as you might imagine, they are basically, if I add them, you can give it whatever your task is, optionally give it a due date, and then it will show up on your list. You can see this person here, they're a little bit older, but older of due dates, but you can see that this person has a number of to-do items. And when you mark something as done, it, I'll just pick one of these. It'll automatically put it over here in past actions to record, okay, that person, or I did this task, I already did it, and it's marked down over there. You can add more to a specific contact, and where this surfaces, where you can find this information is in two places. Well, I mean, first of all, you can, if you know a specific contact, you can come here, but what's more useful is you can see this on the dashboard. So like here's these ones of these exclamation marks are overdue, but it's essentially the same thing. They show up here on your dashboard, and then you get a daily activity email that has your to-dos in them. So you can, make sure you can follow up with them and get what you need to get done for the day done. So the to-dos are great because, they can be attached to a specific contact. Also, actually going back to the dashboard, you can add them right from the dashboard if you would like. Type the to-do name, and then you can pick a contact, pick whatever, and then pick a due date, and it'll add to that. And you can even add a note there if you want to for yourself. So there's a little bit more depth about what it is that you need to do. And it'll drop that in there and then be specific for the contact, which is a great way to follow up and not drop the ball on any follow-ups. Kind of related to that is our contact rating feature. So this one's similar, but so the main difference between to-dos and the rating is that the rating is an automatic recurring thing. So if you rate someone, you click this little rate contact icon, you can see this person has a rating in there as well, because there's a little different icon on some of these. But if you click on that, then you can change the rating from anywhere from 0 to 5, with 0 meaning I'm never going to get reminded, to I get an annual reminder, quarterly reminder, monthly reminder, weekly, or every 3-day reminder, depending on which rating you pick. And so that's great for somebody that you really want, to follow up with, touch base frequently, just to make sure you don't lose an opportunity. Or in the case of like an annual follow-up, maybe it's just kind of a, hey, how's it going? I wanted to check in, see how things are going. So that also shows up in those same two places. It shows up in your dashboard. If I scroll down to the contacts you may wish to reach out to section, that shows the people that you have rated that have not been reached out to, and as well as in that daily activity email. Now on your dashboard, you can perform some actions right there. You can just skip the reminder. Let's say you have it set every 3 days and you're like, well, I feel like I've been reaching out too much. So you can just click that and it'll skip it and go back next time, or remind you again next time. Otherwise, you can send an email, send a text, schedule a follow-up, or some other action. Maybe you called them. And when you record any of these, they will automatically count as activity and then reset that timer for the next, reaching out to that needs to get done. So the rating's great if you need that to happen. You need to be reminded regularly without having to set to-do items. Now, there is another feature related to to-dos called follow-up plans. And what they are is essentially a list of prepackaged to-dos that you wrote up in advance that can be applied to a contact. And where this comes in handy is, let's say you have a new client, or let me step back. Let's say for every new client that you have, you perform the same 5 things when they get started. Maybe you have to, or maybe you wish to call them on, a couple days after they've signed up, or started their relationship with you. And maybe a week after, you send them a nice little handwritten note in the mail. And maybe in 30 days, you want to send them a survey, or something like that. Well, you can craft these follow-up plans in a way so that they can be reused. I mean, that's the whole point of them. If you go under contacts and settings and then follow-up plans, I'll just click on one of these here. This is actually a pretty good one here. So a new lead group member. Okay, this is the name of this follow-up plan. And you can see here, if you add this, it's going to add this is the day relative to the current day, like today, 0 would be today, and 5 days from now, 7 days from now. If you would apply this follow-up plan to a contact, you would get 2 items in your to-do list, one for this one for this one, because they're both on day 0. 5 days later, you would get a to-do item that would show up, says check to see if opening emails, send some personal messages, and so on these different days. So I'll show you how this works, and you can add and edit these two. Let's say you want to write welcome post in Facebook, if you want to call it that, and then it's essentially saved at that point, or you can delete it or change the days. Now, if I go back over to my contacts, this was called new lead group member. come over here to this guy, and I will add a to-do and pick my new lead group member from the list and hit add. And I'll have to go to the end of this because these are all newer. But you can see here now that all of these were added from that follow-up plan. So this is a great way to bulk personalize things and not miss any, drop any balls by having, these items, your to-do list essentially pre-assigned, pre-written for specific use cases like new client or maybe purchase the course or there's, anything. It kind of depends on your business, but I think you could set those up in that way. Now, the follow-up plans are great. I mean, you can apply those to both specific contacts as well as a contact that you create for yourself. Another neat feature for follow-up plans as well as to-dos is if you use the events feature down under here under the Zoom and events menu, this one allows you, you can actually create to-do items and add follow-up plans right to events. So if you're holding an in-person or an online event, which you can use the event RSVP feature here for, you can set up to-do items. So for example, maybe you need to do some, maybe need to write some marketing messages. So you're holding an event in a month and you want to create a to-do item for that event to remind you to do something for it. You could do that. Like in this case, or this example, this site, it just shows, okay, I need to secure the venue. I need to send out thank you notes after the event. So you can add, and you can also do the follow-up plans too. So if you frequently hold events, you can put all these to-dos into a follow-up plan and then apply those right away. So Cheryl asks, how is this different than a campaign? Great question. It is essentially, a follow-up plan is essentially a campaign for you for like manual labor. A campaign sends out emails or text, but a follow-up plan is sort of like a campaign for tasks that you perform by yourself. So kind of a cool feature, especially since you can do it on yourself, your own on contacts, your own contact, and events. Hopping over to features more along the lines in the communication and branding section of the system. The first one here I want to talk about is two-way texting. The two-way texting is included, I think, with all the plans except Starter, where there's a small additional cost for it. But the two-way texting feature is where you get your own phone number through AttractWell, and then you can send and receive texts and phone calls on it. And the specific feature that I want to talk about is the caller ID. So sometimes when you send out text through that number, people will just click call and they'll call you back. They'll tap call on their phone. Now, where that number goes, when they call your two-way texting number, if you go under My Contact Info in the menu, it'll go to whatever number you have in the mobile phone field down here. And now this account doesn't have that. I could pretend I have something in there. So in this case, if my mobile phone field's blank, I'm not going to get any incoming phone calls because there's no phone number to route it to. But if I were to have something here and somebody called my demo account's phone number, it'll get sent right to my mobile phone number. Now, where this can kind of get fun, I go under account settings and then click on two-way texting. There's a setting down here about caller ID. You can choose to show different caller IDs depending on what you want to do. The default is that it just shows the incoming caller's phone number. That will, it basically does what it says. Your phone will ring and you'll see that person's phone number. Now, the downside of this is that you don't know if they're calling your mobile number directly, or if they're calling your two-way texting phone number. If you set it to this option, your caller ID will show your two-way texting phone number, but as you can see here with this little tooltip, the second that you have an incoming call, you'll also get a text message from the system with the contact's number in it, as well as their name, if it exists, if you have that number in your contact manager. If they exist in your contact manager, you'll also get their name and a link to the contact in your contact manager so you can choose what to do with that or whether to follow up. So that's kind of a nice feature if you're using two-way texting. I recommend turning that on. You can also play with some of these other settings here. If you don't want to be notified by email or text and you might have the AttractWell app installed, you can turn off those two notifications. So when somebody texts you, you won't get extra notifications. If you're not familiar with the app, click on the help icon and just search for app. And there will be, it'll be the first match up here. And that shows you where to get it. And there's links to download it. And you can also turn on or off notifications about being notified by text if somebody opts out, like if they reply with stop, you can just not be notified of that in case you get that frequently. You can also choose whether or not to forward incoming calls to your mobile number. If you don't want calls, you can just uncheck that box and then it won't come to your mobile number. And then you can get an email for a text delivery notice if you want to as well. So yeah, the caller ID is, I think, the kind of the fun one. Now there's a couple different options with campaigns that I want to talk about here too. You can link campaigns together using automations. And the use case for this, where this comes in useful. Let's say you have on your website, maybe you have, or maybe not even on your website, but let's say you've set up 3 different landing pages, 3 different lead magnets that you have, and maybe one is a lead magnet for something you've shared in your Facebook group, and another one might be one that you put on your YouTube channel, and there might be another landing page yet that you have out there with a free download, and they're all different. That's perhaps on LinkedIn, and you're getting different leads from different places. So, but that the landing page is just simply like, okay, enter in your name and email to get the free download. They do that, and then they get an email because the landing page will also send a campaign if you'd like it to. And they'll send an email following, or the campaign will send an email that has the link so they can download whatever it is that they downloaded in it. Well, at that point, you've got leads coming in from 3 different sources, and maybe you want to write a whole campaign that's specific for each one of those different lead sources. That might be appropriate. But in a lot of cases, once they get through that initial campaign, at some point, it makes sense to like put them on sort of a central generic campaign. So you could set up another campaign that is, and start sending that one after those initial campaigns are done. So in other words, let's say somebody signs up on your Facebook lead magnet landing page, and then they get that, and they get 2 or 3 emails from that campaign, and then that sends them, then they start getting emails from your sort of general campaign that you have out there. Now you can do that in the campaign manager. So if I come here, I'll click on this one. And here's one that's actually like a live event, not a lead magnet, but I think this one will work too. So you can set this up. If you're not seeing all these extra fields, check this box to edit message times and automations. So that shows this automation box. And so what you could do then, let's say you want to do the same thing with a live event. You have a campaign that you want to send to them after the live event is done that you've already written, and you don't want to like try to copy the messages over because that would be extra work. So what I want to do in this situation would be, I probably want to add a message. I'll say, thanks for attending. Glad you were here. I'll just, you might want to say a little bit more than that, but I'll save it. And so it's going to be on the bottom now. So a day after this live event, or, if they downloaded something that would work too, it will say, it'll send this message, and then you can also run an automation. And what an automation is, and I'll click this little pencil, but it's also under contacts and settings and automations. What an automation is, it allows you to run some specific tasks. In this case, all I wanted to do is start a campaign. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, add to general mailing list campaign. And I'll add one action, and I'll pick a campaign. I don't have one written, but let's just say that I have one called here. I'll pick this piano motivation one. I'll just pretend that's my general one that I've got written up there. Hit add, and then add it. Now, if I come over here and I go and pick, this was called add to general mailing list campaign, I believe, right? Yeah, that's the one I just created. Now what this will do is, on this very last day, it's going to start sending them that other campaign, because it runs the automation when that message sends, and then starts sending that campaign. So it's a great way to like link campaigns together. And you can even take this a step further. Like we've seen some people who have a live event to kick things off, and then they'll have weekly calls, or they have a new program where it has a specific start date, and then every 7 days they send them an email. Well, the campaign that they send it to, like this general mailing list campaign, if I go to this one, I could set it up so that it itself runs an automation that restarts itself every 7 days. Like if this were set to day 7, I could have it send out weekly emails. So that's where the evergreen part comes, and then you can basically drip on, send emails out to them weekly without really having to do anything on your end. It will just run. So that's a relatively advanced feature. So if you have any questions about that, certainly reach out to support. We'd be happy to help you set that up. Another item with the branding piece that falls more into the branding piece are the email templates in the Vault and the store. So those, if I come over, let me close up some of my tabs here. If I go into the member area, so there's certain situations in the member area where the system will send them emails. A couple that come to mind offhand are if you have a discussion room enabled, or if you've got commenting essentially or discussion enabled for lessons in a course, you can, the emails will be sent out by default to people who are in there. So it'll say something like, there was a new post on, and then it would share the post, and then we have a link for them to engage. If somebody commented on a post they had commented on, someone had commented on, they would also get an email. So there's some situations where it'll send an email. If you want to add a little extra personalized touch to that, click on member area setup, click advanced, and then check the box to use my own custom email template. Now, what you might want to do here, this is just an idea, but you can add formatting. Let's see if there's anything in the image library. There isn't really. Oh, here, let's pretend this is my, let me align this left and make it full width. That's going to be my email header. What I recommend is using a design from Canva here. You can click the design from Canva button, add one in there to make a nice header that appears at the top of the email. But then you don't have to really write too much for the message body. Use this little speech bubble icon here, and then click on message body. It'll put in a tag, and then you can kind of wrap it up if you want to. Sincerely, me. What this will do then, whatever emails are sent out of the member area, they'll have this graphic on the top. It'll put whatever the message was in the middle that was going to be sent, and then it has your, in this case, a signature on the bottom. So it's a great way to personalize your member area. Likewise, if you are using the store feature under store settings, you can come down here and do the same thing. Go under advanced, turn on your custom email template, and then you can assemble one like you wanted, or like I was just showing you before. Maybe use the same thing, make it full width. Make sure to insert that body tag here, the message body, and then wrap it up however you want to. So this in the store would affect like the email receipts when they purchase, that kind of thing. So you'd be able to add a little bit more of a touch. Peggy has a question here about elaborate on message body. Where does that come from? This is essentially like anything that would, it depends. So like in the store, this message body would be replaced with the receipt that they purchased. That's the most likely situation. There's also a couple of cases like where there's order updates and such, but really the main thing is they place an order, they would get an email. It could have your, maybe some header graphic or some branding, whatever that you want in there. It'll put put the receipt in the middle, and then, you could have anything in there. And you could, I guess I don't see a save reply button in here, but you could, I suppose, copy and paste that in here as well. If you had something already done, you could probably go find your save replies under the content library, find one, and then copy and paste that over here. We don't have a button. That might be a good wish list idea. Good questions there. Awesome. Okay. So moving on here, that's the custom email templates. Now, related to this, with all this communication, that you're doing here, emails, texts, sometimes people are wondering, well, what actually did get sent out? Okay, I sent a message to 50 people. What happened with that? So you can see the individuals. So if you go under contacts and messages, you can also, let me see here. I'll just click on one that has some delivery stats. But for the ones that were sent, you can see some delivery statistics here, and you can even click on some of these to view who they are. And then, but what I wanted to show you here was if you click on history, this actually shows individual emails that were sent. So they are individuals just emails, but they're text too. See, this is like a text message. This is email. It shows emails and text. And this is a combination of all the broadcast messages that might have been sent, individual emails that were sent, individual texts that were sent, and campaign messages that were sent. So if you have a campaign that's running daily, you'd be able to check in here, go under contact messages, and then click on history. You'd be able to see, okay, well, these are the campaign messages that got sent out today. And you can even, it'll show you some delivery statistics here too. Like this one was opened 90, a couple months ago. These weren't open because there's no data on that. Text messages don't track open, just FYI. And then clicks. And if text messages are the only ones that actually use marketing credit. So this one must not have been delivered. So it has a -1 on there. Didn't really use anything, but it would show you the number of credits that you're using because there's like a credit allowance every month for text messaging. So that's kind of a cool way to have some visibility into that. And there's also a resend feature that I want to show you here as well that's in this same screen. On an individual message, let's say I want to resend this one. I got, Rupert reached out to me and says, hey, I didn't get that invitation to my test event here. Easy. You can click on it. It'll pop it up. You can just click resend and then edit it if you want to, and then hit send. You can also schedule it if you wanted to or save it as a draft. But that's a good way to resend something quickly to one person. Now, if you want to resend something to a bunch of people at once, go back over to contact messages. It should be anything that was already sent. You can either click on sent for that or scroll down on the list if you have some scheduled ones. But you can click on it again. It'll pop up with the delivery stats, but there's a resend message button at the top. Now, this will actually allow you to choose the audience and edit the message again. It won't just automatically resend it to the same people. So if I click resend, it'll let me choose who it's going to go to. And then if you want to see who that is, you can click the see matching contacts and it'll pop up and say, okay, well, there's a one person that matches this. Okay, maybe I should pick more, or maybe that's perfect, whatever the case might be. So if you leave it blank, it sends to everybody. So I'll just click write email here, and then it'll pop up with the email that was in there, and then the test email that was there. And then I can send it, schedule it, all the usual things that I can do from there. So good way to resend something that's already been sent to different people. Nicholas has a question here. Is there a way you can make automations for people who opened and one for people who did not open messages? Right now, there is not anything triggered on opens. You can do an automation on a click, though. When you're composing a message, you can actually, let me just buzz through this here and get to the message window. If you click on the lightning bolt icon, you can run an automation here, which will then, I guess it appeared at the bottom, but it'll track their link click, and then you can do something from there. Opens they're okay. They're not 100% reliable. There's been some changes in recent years, like Apple Mail privacy can be turned on and off, which I believe, if that's on, then 100% of the emails are opened by Apple servers and not necessarily the person. And then on the flip side, there's a bunch of people who have email programs that never track opens. So email opens are not 100% reliable. So running automations on them may or may not be useful because maybe the person didn't open them actually, and it was just their mail server preloading images. There's some things that the servers can do to kind of trick that out a little bit. So yeah, there's nothing you can do based on opens, but you can see who did open if you go under contact messages. And then like if I click on this, you can see who opened, and then click on the contacts who opened, and then you can see who did, and then do something to that manually if you wanted to go that way. Cool. So next up here, we've got some content tips, and I wanted to show you these. These are some time savers here. So with Zoom recordings, which I can't show you how to start a Zoom recording because I'm in Zoom and Zoom won't let me share itself. But once your Zoom meeting has been started, which is, you can start from what's inside of AttractWell here just by clicking Zoom meetings and scheduling it, or clicking Meet Now. There's a record button, click record, and then there's you can choose between recording to your computer and recording to the cloud. If you want to do what I'm about to share with you, you'd want to record to the cloud is the option in the recording menu. So click record to the cloud, and then once your meeting is done, after some period of time, it'll show up under my recordings. So I'm going to go click on my recordings because I did make a little call earlier just to have something in here. You'll end up with a list of the meetings that were held here and saved to the cloud. Now the cloud recording meetings, so the reason I'm showing you this is the cloud recordings are automatically deleted after 30 days. There's only so much space in our big Zoom account, and so it automatically cleans itself up to make sure that everybody has room to have their recordings. If you want to keep it indefinitely, then you can either download it to your computer or your device, download the video. This is the audio only, and this is some text file. You can download it, or kind of the easy button is you can just click this copy into my video library. What that'll do, you click it, and then after usually several minutes to, a little bit longer, or a few seconds to several minutes, it'll show up under your video library here and into the content library. Now I didn't click on that, so it's not going to copy it over here. But that's a great shortcut once you've recorded it to the cloud. Now you may also want to save a copy to your computer. You might want to download it as well just to save as backup. If it's a really important video, I would certainly recommend doing that. Never hurts to have too many backups when it comes to that sort of thing. Now, if you're moving videos from other platforms, that's where there's also another feature. So let me go back over to the video library here. There's a little link in the bottom that says add video by importing from another video provider. And there's some instructions here. If you have any questions with this, certainly reach out to support. But there's a little illustration of what happened, how you can do this on Vimeo. Like if we're moving videos from, in this case, Vimeo is the example, over to AttractWell, there's a link. You can copy a link, paste it in here, and then it'll just automatically add it over without you having to download every video from whatever that other video provider is and put that here too. So another little time saver. Another little neat trick you can do is put audio files into your video library. Now I've done that with this one. This is just some random MP3 I had on my computer. It can be any audio file, and what the video player does, it just puts this little speaker icon in the middle, and then your audio track is laid down, and then you have all the player controls that you have for an audio player, volume, playback, speed, open and new window, full screen, all that kind of stuff. That can be done there. Now, most of the time you probably want to use videos for videos, but this can be useful if you want to put this in, if you want to track, say, for example, the percentage of something that's been, or the video, or like in this case, the audio that's been listened to. You can do that with the share with link feature. Like you can grab the link and then you get a link. And then if you share it with a specific contact, you can track all sorts of things here. We covered this a couple weeks ago. So that's useful for that. Now, also related is an audio player. Now, if you don't want this big audio player because it's got sort of a fake video placeholder in there, you can just actually put an audio player in there. Let me show you that. This works in the page builder under pages. It works in a blog post. It works pretty much anywhere that there's an editor except for emails. The audio player doesn't really work in emails. But I'll just go to the My Story and Photo because that's got an editor in it, and I'll show you. So what you can do is go to your More Rich menu and then click on, once you've uploaded a file, MP3 file, you can do this. So go to Insert and Manage Files. And then any of these that have a little musical note next to them, you can have an audio player in there. So if you click on the musical note, you want to click on the note, not the file name, because if you click on the file name, it just puts in a link to the file name so that they can download it, which is probably not necessarily what you'd be looking for. Maybe sometimes, because that would let them download the original MP3. But if you click on Insert and Manage Files and then click on this little audio player button, it actually will insert this audio player. And this one apparently didn't have too much to it, but it just inserts a player that you can have on the page for them to play the audio. Also related to this, we have some bulk delete features that can be useful in your content library, especially when you're copying and pasting. It's really easy to get a lot of junk in here. If there's little images, little smiley faces, whatever from a copy and paste, you can end up with a lot of junk in the video library. Now, you can select them individually like this, or you could even maybe select all on the page, and then you can click the delete button, and that will allow you to delete them all at the same time. Now, one question that often comes up here is this does not actually delete the original. It just deletes in your image library. So if you've used this somewhere, if you've used this graphic somewhere, if you delete it, you don't have to worry about the image being broken. Same goes for files. If I go to the file manager here too, you can select multiple or select all on the page and then do a bulk delete from there. This last feature on the content side of things is called resource bundles. If you have, this is useful for people who have clients who need a system like AttractWell, because what a resource bundle does, it allows you to create or bring any um, content that you've created, put it into a bundle, and then share it with somebody else that has an AttractWell account. So it's a great way to get somebody kickstarted. Like, for example, if you have a program that's helping people get online, get their presence online, you could include a resource bundle that has, let's say, a homepage template and maybe a landing page for a free download, and maybe a campaign or a follow-up plan, that kind of thing. So creating bundles is pretty simple. Click add, give it a name, and then add the resources that you want to. You can see there's a lot of different things you can put in there. I can just add a few random items here, and then you hit create, and then it'll show up. And then once you have that, if I go grab a link here, get the link. Actually, I'll just click on this, and then I'll hit view, and it'll show you. You would want to share this URL with the other person who has an AttractWell account. They would check this box and hit claim, and then we get all the assets that are showing down here. Just copying it to their account so they can do with it what they want to. And you can also see who's been sharing it too, or who's been claiming it. So you can click on usage. It'll show you a big list of everybody who's downloaded it. And then, so yeah, you can kind of keep tabs on the content, and it shows you how many shares and all that. So kind of a cool feature if that is something that you need. Not everybody needs that, but we use that actually for our trainings too, so we can give you templates and such. So one last slide here with a few other miscellaneous features. We've got, and if you have any questions, certainly drop them in chat, and Q&A will take care of them here before we wrap up. But I want to show you a few more things with the website in the member area. We've got the paste plain text button, or ways to paste plain text. Let me show you, if I go back to my story photo, this might be an example of what's going on here. So you can see that this, and I think this is intentional, but I'll just pretend that I pasted this in here from somewhere, and this line was too big and bold, and this one has italic, and I just wanted it to all be the same. So normally, like if you're copying and pasting from, I don't know, Google Docs or Word or some other website, there might be some weird formatting that comes across. And while it might look good in the original, it doesn't translate well. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to cut this out, hit cut. Actually, you know what, I want that all. So first I'm going to do a select all, and then I'm going to do a cut. Okay, so this grabs everything now, and you can see there's no more formatting in here. If you want to be 100% sure that there's nothing in that box, click this more misc and then hit delete all, and that will just like wipe out this whole box. It just completely erases it, completely blank slate. Now, if I were to paste with my Command V, you can see the formatting comes back in, and it looks identical to what it was when I first pasted it in. So I'm going to hit undo, which is right here as well. But so there's two ways of doing this. There's a keyboard shortcut, which is either Command Shift V on Mac or Control Shift V on a PC. But if you do that, you can see that the formatting comes across, and all like the bold, italic, and all that is gone. This can be great because sometimes there's some stuff that comes over from other platforms that, doesn't really work out so well formatting wise. Another option, and this depends on your browser, it may be labeled differently. Some of the browsers change them differently, but there's this paste and match style is what it's called on mine. I'm using Chrome on Mac. That does the same thing as the keyboard shortcut, the Command Shift V or Control Shift V. There also, if you don't want to remember all that, under more text, there's a little clipboard icon for paste plain text. And then you can just paste in this box and then click the paste into document, and that does the same thing as well. This paste plain text is probably the cleanest of all. If you still run into problems with the other ones, try that one first. And if that doesn't work, let us know. We can probably look into it and see if there's some way we can help out with the formatting. So that can be helpful when you're trying to bring content over, and it's not coming in the way that you might like it. There's also a way to change a link into a button, and this works in email, works on websites, works on landing pages, any place that there's a button. I'm going to just kind of erase all this, but let's say we have my website. You want to have a link to that. So I just highlight that, click insert link, and I'll just put AttractWell in there as just some URL. But you're like, oh, okay, I really would like this to be a button. I don't want to have to redo it, because you can't actually add a button. I think it's under, uh, here, it's under more rich. You can click on insert button and then add a button. Well, okay, I already have this link. What if I just want to make it something different? So if you click on the link, you can click style and then change it into a button. So pick from one of the buttons that's there. I found the one that matches, I think, roughly the one that was down there, even though it says green, it's not green. But anyway, um, yeah, you can pick and change. If you want to go back to the link, just click on default style. It takes it back to the link. Likewise, if you have a button, you can turn it back into a link just by changing it back to the default style. And if you want to edit the URL or the label, click the little pencil icon, and then it'll let you do that. So I want to change this to not green because it's a little more accurate. Then you could change the label there. So that's the changing a link into a button and the button styles. So changing the button styles, I want to touch on that as well. That's under colors and fonts. Now the button styles, this account has had some of the content of some of the buttons customized already. So you can, these aren't the defaults, but I'll show you how to do this. If you click on colors and fonts in the menu, and you open up button colors, you can see all of the different buttons that are available. And so the way that this works is anywhere that you see a button that matches this, the color that you see here, if you modify that, it'll change it throughout the system. Like, for example, several of the built-in landing pages have a red button. Well, I mean, by default, they're red, but in this account, they've been changed to this color here. And by changing this, it then changed all the landing pages that use that specific button. So it's sort of like a universal button palette here. To edit them, you just click on it. Maybe I changed my mind and now I actually do want this back to be red. And maybe I should have white text to go with that. You can change the color, give it a name. And the name is really for your own reference. It doesn't show anywhere. If you want to, you can also round the corners. You can make them round or square or whatever you want to. Force capitalization or not. Whether or not this one's pretty subtle. Let me zoom in for this one, but there is a way to put a text shadow under there. I don't know if you can see that super subtle shadow under there, but that's an option. And then you can even play with the border colors and width. Like if you want to put black on, you can be quite colorful if you want to, I suppose. But up to you, you kind of the branding that you might want to offer. But anyway, so once you've customized that, this button would then look like this button throughout, like you've done here. Anywhere that there was like this red button would exist when I hit save. So yeah, let's see here. Dane's got a good question about the button. Does delivery decrease if a button is added to an email? I don't think so. I mean, it's more about, I think, the ratio of links, or one of the metrics I know of for spam is the ratio of links to the message size. If you have an email that just has 27 links in it and nothing else, it's probably going to get flagged as spam because it's kind of spammy. But if you have a large amount of copy or a decent sized amount of copy followed by a button, then I don't think that would do anything, because the button actually behind the scenes is a link that's been styled to look like a button. So really, a lot of email programs see that kind of as the same as a link in there. So links and buttons, at least the way that AttractWell sends them out, are essentially the same, with just a little bit of styling difference. So hopefully that answers your question there, Dane. And yeah, so that, I think, let me see here. I think that, oh yeah, reordering vault. So there's one last thing here. We're getting close to the top of the hour. I don't see any other questions in Q&A. If you have any, let us know before we wrap up here. But one last thing I wanted to show you is kind of the last of our Hidden Gems series is you can reorder vaults. You may have seen this little drag to reorder icon, but you can actually just reorder them, and that will affect how they appear inside people's vaults. So when they go to their dashboard, like if I go to view the member area, how to build your online courses on top. Let's say, oh, I don't really want that one on top. I want that one, 2 or 3 down. Okay, cool. So if I come back over here and this is how it would be seen by others, it's going to update that and move that how to build your online course down here. So you can choose, because otherwise it would have to alphabetize it or something. So this allows you to order them however you want to. And this is also why there is no paginator on this page, because you can have as many vaults as you want to and then order them in whatever order that you would like. So cool. Yeah, I don't see any questions here, so I appreciate you all attending today, and look forward to next week. We'll be sending out a replay of this for those who might have missed it, and we'll be back with our regularly scheduled office hours next week. Thanks everyone for attending. We'll see you next week.